So let me introduce myself a little bit. We'll keep it quick. So actually, my name is Karan Bagadia. I'm an alumnus of IIT Kanpur, did aerospace engineering there. I worked in the corporates till 2014, but I quickly came into the test prep industry actually, and I've been training people now since 2015 almost. And I usually train them on all subjects, quant, verbal, LRDI, and for all the exams, CAT primarily, and then the OMETs, NMAT, SNAP, and then the study abroad, which is, I would say, has been my focus for the last few years, the GMAT and the GRE. So we've taught at an academy, at IMS as a guest lecturer, and now I run my own firm by the name of Test Monks. And why am I, uh, you know, doing this today? So one is in the last few years, I've been working with the GMAT GRE industry deeply. And there it is, more one-to-one interactions. That's how we help people. And I was craving the larger impact that I could have on people. And that's when my team and I thought that this is something that we can start off with. In that, I still feel CAT has many resources that people can access, which can help them in their journey. But some of these OMETs, especially since we look at it at the end, sometimes either get missed out or don't have any dedicated resources. And then, although these sessions can be, catered in the future for the CAT as well, but these OMETs get missed out. And then a couple of weeks back, I myself registered for the NMAT and these exams this year, and I was trying to see the solutions available on the net. And I thought we could do a better job, especially given the nuances of each exam. I realized that the solutions are not very optimal either because everyone's really focused on the CAT, even the instructors. So, we don't work very deeply on how to crack these other exams, rather look at it as, oh, spend a little time at the end, which is fair to do, but that's where I would, try and help you all. So in this OMET discussion, from what my understanding is of the test prep in India, apart from CAT, this is the NMAT season, followed by December, the SNAP season, first week of Jan, the ZAT, which is my favorite examination, to be honest with you. And then some of the MBA examinations like the Maharashtra entrance examination and stuff. So this particularly right now, the focus would be NMAT for you guys is what I'm focusing this session on. Would that be on page so that it's relevant to you all as well? So on the chat, maybe you all can put in your answers that let's have this session at least, and maybe the future 4 or 5 sessions on NMAT, because that looks to be what's rolling in, right? In fact, it started already. At the NMAT, okay? Are you all aware of the format? So, otherwise I'd quickly go through the format. And it's changed over the years. For me, it's sort of become more scoring than before, or the scores are generally higher than before, which is, I'm talking about 2016, 17, it has evolved. It is still adaptive. Is the meaning of adaptive clear? That's question one. I would like you all to tell me. Then, are we aware that the NMIMS Bombay, which is the primary or the flagship course that you're targeting, takes only the first attempt, which is why I'm guessing everyone has even slightly delayed their attempts to make it optimal rather than a best of 3 version. So are we okay with the adaptiveness, the format, and the fact that NMIMS now takes only the first version? In fact, I gave a mock yesterday so as to, have something to show you in this class. Be prepared. Let's discuss something. Sayog is very much correct that it's slightly different from the CAT in its verbal. I feel it's a mash of the CAT and the GMAT. It has the para jumbles which come from the CAT. It has like the point the error in the sentence, which comes from the GMAT sentence correction legacy, which now is not there on the GMAT anymore, sentence correction. The LRDI earlier used to be very, very data intensive, just couldn't finish the paper. Now the LRDI, that middle section, the complaint people have is it's you can finish, although it's still, according to me, the time bomb 36 questions, 40 minutes. But there is a certain level of ambiguity in that 1 and 2 strong or 3 strong and 1 strong. It's not as clean as some of, let's say, the GMAT questions are, right? So let's quickly go to this mock that I took yesterday, okay? Let me try and wiggle my way so that we see the format, okay? We have three sections, the order of which you can choose at the start. And let's first discuss the official material. See, since I know the GMAC very well, have attended their forums as well, they are very much adherent to their official material. So for CAT, it's the past year papers for these exams, for these American companies like the GMAT, the GRE coming from ETS, GMAT coming from GMAC, which is the same institute covering NMAT. For them, the official material is very important. Again, it's simple business sense. If the official material has relevant questions, students are likely to buy it, which means more money, which is still the primary aim, right? You have to be profitable. So even though it's one of the more expensive examinations, there is merit in solving the practice exam 1, which you can take twice, and maybe giving 2 and 3. And we can, even sort of have these sessions after, let's say, we set a date in common that you all will also give the mock 2 and I will also give mock 2, and then let's have a discussion. Something like that can be done in the coming month, right? But what are the official materials available? The free test, which can be taken twice, practice exam 2 and 3, which I think can be bought twice. With each version, you'll get one attempt, and then you can buy it again. Again, you see the monetary advantages of that. And lastly, it's the OG. The OG for me, the 11th guide is the current one, 11th edition. You can choose it in case you had taken it last year. There's usually very little change in the OG questions and maybe need not buy it again. But the word lists are important. We'll discuss a little more on the word lists as well, maybe one day when we do verbal, right? So this is what I wanted to tell you all. Especially each of the sections are independent, okay? The scores are not interdependent. The level of difficulty, if you take quant first and you have very easy or you didn't do well, then the language will start with on an easier level or something. No, they are not correlated at all. In fact, we're treating them as three separate independent skills. So what's more likely to happen? Let's try and understand the adaptiveness a bit. You're not going to get a very easy question at the start. Neither are you going to get a very hard question at the start. If the algorithm, which is usually working very nicely, you're going to get a medium question at the start. So don't expect an easy or a hard, I would say, although it is very subjective. And then the algorithm will evolve within each section, right? Now in quant, let's read this 108 questions, like I was saying, compared to the earlier 120. And different questions, different number of questions were there in different formats. Now each section has 36 questions, but the timing still varies. For quant, you have 52 minutes, and I would immediately like that, oh, the benchmark is around 1.5 minutes a question. So for quant, 52 minutes. For LRDI, 40 minutes. And for verbal, almost less than a minute, 28. And it does then impact the way you'll take this test, right? You can't come from the CAT arena to this directly without having adjusted yourself. It's like coming from maybe an ODI almost to a T20 version, so to say, because it does go at a way more rapid pace. In fact, as you can see yesterday, I was caught unawares by the logic section because I was maintaining accuracy, but I couldn't finish it. And this is my experience with the GMAC algorithm. The penalty for leaving the section unanswered is quite high. Better to tick through all of them, which is what I did. So even though almost the last 6 or 7 are just guesses, it has not taken a huge dip, the LR. So you must tick all the questions. We'll also keep discussing this adaptive algorithm a little more. But do you see? So in language compared to the cat, since that's the one you all will be comparing your prep for the next 1 month, right? So that's why I'm bringing in the cat as a benchmark here. The wobble, you have much lesser time, but there are certain questions where you'll be able to do it in 30 seconds, whether right or wrong, but you'll take your decision. There's nothing much in the question, like a simple statement. So it's still manageable, but you still have to speed up. The RCs are not as dense as the cat ones. So it's easier to read, and the level of the questions would be, let's say, on a scale of 1 to 5, level 1, level 2, you read carefully, you'll get it. LRDI, the difficulty increases a bit. The puzzle type questions, you'll have to beware. If you don't get it, you might just have to move on. And that's the thing with the adaptive algorithm compared to the cat. In the adaptive algorithm case, makes sense to skip it and not get stuck, because then the difficulty level will automatically fall. You'll get those questions right, and again you get an opportunity to get the medium questions. But if you get stuck, then even some easy questions at the end, you may just not have the time to do them. And the quant is the aspect where, even though 52 minutes are there, I find it more challenging, because many times the sums, like the wobble, the sums can be done quickly. LRD, if you crack the puzzle, you can still do it. There is ambiguity within the questions, but there's not much you can do about it on the time front. In quant, yes, the level of questions compared to the cat may be on an average lower, but some questions can get tricky and they're still time consuming. They're not simple, is what I would say, especially from my experience of the mock yesterday with Swada. Okay. So I've told you about the official material as well, right? So now let's try, and I would want to open a question which I think will help even in the cat discussion and as a element of aptitude in it, especially today being the theme of number properties, right? I'm going to give you all live time. Let's try and solve this question. Okay. It's a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 questions you get from this. Let's discuss, okay, how I would attack this sum if I'm in the exam mode, or how I did it yesterday. Question this thing. How does it generalize into your prep? Whatever I want to discuss, through this question, that we'll do number 2. And we'll keep it fixed on these 2 things only. This particular question and then generalizing it. So let's say I'll read it with you all, okay? Group of 25,000 families. So that's the first thing that comes about the usage of tech by all children aged 3 to 18 in their family. And there were 45,000 children in this age group. So what passes by my head at this point of time if I'm in the exam, that although the number also strikes, that is 1.8, but even if it doesn't strike, then you see that there are approximately 2 children per family, which does make sense. So all is in order. The children who used technology were asked how often they used each device. Go through the given graphs. Now, how do I go through the graph? I'm going first through the axis. Okay. Laptop, smartphone, tablet, iPod, e-reader. Right. So that corresponds to the device. For me in the graph, what are the crucial things? First, the axis. Don't immediately or don't haphazardly try and get to the graph, and then a percentage scale on the y-axis. And instead of understanding every point, I'll understand a random point. So what does this 77 mean? If I can understand one data point, I'm good. Oh, 77% of the 25,000 families own a smartphone, and 27% of the 45,000 children use an iPod. So then this graph is now with me. And then in a particular pie chart, what are they saying? Smartphone, okay, daily 65% use it, weekly 29% use it, and even less than weekly 6% use it. And out here a thought should cross my head. Is it out of 45%, or what is this percentage out of? Right? And have they given something in the graph, in the text? go through the given, and they've given nothing. So for me, this would then correspond to, let's say, 6% of the children use it. But this is, they use it, whether daily, weekly, or less often, they use it. So it's then 6% of the 43% of 45,000. So in case there are like 10K children using it after I do 43%, then this is 6% of the 10,000. Do you see how we've tracked the graph in 2 minutes such that the numbers are clear? I've done enough to understand each number, but I've not gone through each number. This is optimal. Check. I'll wait if anyone has a doubt. Either put it on the chat or ask, then I'll go ahead. How to get in control of a graph, but not, you don't want to go into too much nitty gritty either. Yeah. Okay. Now check. The first question, is this the one? Let me check. Yeah, 22. So now, how many children aged 3 to 18 use the device which is owned by exactly 11,500 families? So see, for any of these standardized tests, this is my, not, I wouldn't call it a tip, but suggestion, advice number one. You have to be very comfortable in sliding between fractions, decimals, and percentages, apart from your friendliness with numbers. Okay. It just saves a lot of time. You should know when you look at 3 by 5, it's 0.6. Or when you look at 70%, it's like 7 by 10. And if that piece of calculation or this movement is not smoothen it. It might be, anxiety provoking at the start, realizing that, okay, I'm not comfortable, and continue to do it on the paper. But no, only when you try and process it in the head, it might first go wrong, then might take a lot of time, then will take a little less time, but do it. You have to do this hard work. Okay. So now 11,500. Now check. The reason I've opened this sum is yesterday I went online and I saw some famous instructors explaining this. And what's happening there? They are advising to calculate each number. And these are some tough calculations. Look at the numbers. 11% of 45,000. So there are like 10 calculations already. After the 10 calculations, you'll have 3 more calculations per device. It's impossible to do it. You see? And automatically your friendliness of numbers is being judged. Because if you're trying to take a very exhaustive approach, there are 30 calculations to get to the exact table. You see? 5 to calculate the number of families who own it, 5 to calculate the number of children who use the device, and then within those children, what's the split? Another 3 calculations per device. And the numbers are not at all friendly. 53%, 47%. But you see, if you're friendly with numbers, you will realize this 53 and 47 are not there to trouble you. They're there to help you. And as you'll see when we discuss. So now let's look at this. 11,500 families. So this should happen ideally in the mind, but check. I'm just looking at the percentage calculation. Have it clear as to what you want. And for me, to test whether you have clarity in your thought process, go back after every mock or every sum and look at the rough work. There shouldn't be too many cancellations, redoings, which means you're thinking more, which means you're using less time. So I want to calculate how much percentage does this mean. Now, if the tables are not strong, this might take a little time. But if the tables are okay, let me do this manually first for you. So can you see it's 115, right? 0 upon 25, right? So can you now figure which multiplication, or what's the prime factorization for 115? This for me, after the suggestion of being into FDPs, is friendliness with the prime factorization. In fact, that entire tricky concept of number properties can be tamed by only one concept. The DNA of number properties is prime factorization. So now I have 115 0 upon 25, right? Ideally, I know 115 is going in by 23 into 5. That helps me a lot, right? And I come to 46%. Otherwise, you can even do the cut with 5 and then get 46, right? So see, what am I saying? One is get to the sum somehow. So do the manual calculation that this is what I'm wanting and this is equivalent to 46%. Which thing is 46%? Directly tablet, right? And I've cracked tablet. Now see, what am I saying? If I can process things in the head, 11,500 families out of how many families? 25,000. Feel this, okay? Each, now see what I'm going to do. Each unit is worth 250, right? 1% family is worth 250. Automatically, this is worth 10%. And 10, see the threshold numbers, how are they helping me? 10,000 is worth 40%. Another 1,500 is worth 6 more percent. So even if this calculation doesn't strike, this comes to me naturally. How can it start coming to you naturally if at least in the untimed, when you're reviewing the mock, you try and make things fast? You know what is our approach right now? कैसे तो भी आ गया तो ठीक है, very good. Or then read the explanation. In an aptitude test, it doesn't help. You have to wait till it strikes you. So this 46% should strike you. If I would have had even lesser time, knowing that 23 goes in here, 23 is a factor of 115, means which percentage will, some one of these percentages values has to be a multiple of 23. 78, 77, 36, 24 have nothing to do with 23. So even if I have to take a random guess, I'll get it right. You see the third aspect, almost super fast. Yes, there's a leap of faith, but I know what the test setter is thinking, and that's what I want you to do. So here, I'm going to get into another deep suggestion, okay? You should do your mock, then take each sum. You've done it timed. Now try and get the sum somehow, number plugging, and this stands for CAT as well, right? For any exam, number plugging, option elimination, get it somehow, okay? Then stop. Then get it through pure logic. Get it through pure logic. Third, get it in the blackboard of your mind as much as is possible with writing minimal stuff. That makes you not 99.9th percentile according to me. This is what we need to do. So how I implemented this? First, if I had to get it somehow just randomly, I would use my 23 logic of 115 and tick this. Not great logic, but great speed. Second, get it nicely somehow. So I'm looking at this calculation, which also, if you have comfort with the FDP and the calculation, it will come very fast. And if there's even more comfort, I can almost process this in the blackboard of the mind. And I'll do this third step again, because this is what is rare on the internet, right? How have I done it? Oh, I need to crack 11,500 as a percentage of 25,000. I like to go to the unit. 1% is 250, right? So 10% 2500, 40% 10,000. And I need to go a little more. So somewhere answer is between 40 and 50. That also helps me limit down to tablet. You see? And I've not written anything. Let's look at it. In the exam, I'm reading 11,500. My brain is working. 251%, 2,500, 10%, 10,000, 40%, 12,500, 50%. So it's definitely between 40 and 50 and 46. You see? And no pen. That's what we need. Now, within this, they have 34% who own 34% of the children use the tablet. So I need 34% of 45,000. Now see again, I can calculate it one, which is what we can do, and that's okay. But see, if I want to do it mentally, and this is what I want to impart to you, 1% is 450, 10% is 4,500, another 10%, 20% is 9,000, 30% is 13,500. Already these options are gone. 30% is 13,500, and I'm dealing with such friendly numbers post that. And then 4% of 450, you should be able to do, okay? We are preparing for these exams. But check, at max write this much. And this is true for any exam. How have we scored 90? Like, let's say, not boasting, but to give you credibility that this should help you. This has helped me get, let's say, 99.99 in ZAT. Same thing in the CAT, it just gives you tremendous speed. This is what you should aim for. Okay. So let's now go to the next question to inculcate this process. Again, 11934. It's a dirty number. Dirty number is very friendly. Why? Because it will be easily trackable, It's unique, so to say, right? So as soon as 11934 is what I'm seeing, it should shout out prime factorization. They won't want you to do some dirty calculations, get 3 to 18 for all, calculate all these 5 numbers, right? Check where am I getting at. वो नहीं करने देने जाएंगे, right? So I need 11934 and used daily. So there's even more. If you want to do exact calculation, even these numbers are getting involved. So it's a very dirty calculation. Don't do exact calculation, prime factorize it. Now, to be honest, this is a tricky prime factorization. So break it down. What do we do first? I do it with 2. Check, is this step that I'm doing okay? Prime factorization taking out through the chart, right? Now I have 5967. See, what do I think? 2 isn't going, so I'll try with 3. So first, to check with 3, I'd want to check, is the summation of the digits going with 3? 27. It is going in with 3, right? So I'll do it with 3 now. So 1, 9, 8, 9. It's still going with 3. 6, 6, 3. Still going with 3, right? Now 4, 5 not going, 7, and you takes time here, okay? Time taking. But you'll see that 13 goes in. And you've cracked the prime factorization of 1111934. And see this thing, which eventually I want to imagine in your head. But let's say whatever this percentage is X and whatever this percentage is Y, do we agree with this logic? X by 100 into Y by 100 into 45,000 is what will give me 11934. Check, what am I saying? 11934 is coming from children using some device daily. So whatever device that may have been, that percentage will come here. And out of that, some percentage people are using it daily. So won't we get this? Correct? Check what I'm saying. So I have X into Y into 45. 11934 I'm writing as 2 into 3 cube into 13 into 17. Now it looks long, and then I'll summarize it to make it in the blackboard of the mind stuff. And then a 10, which is 2 into 5, which means what? One of these X's and Y's has to contribute to the 13, has to contribute to the 17, right? 13 and 17 has to come from these percentage values. Now you see, it being a nasty number is going to help a lot. So let's say if I were to take laptop, 52 can provide me the 13, 51 can provide me the 17. If I take smartphone, 77 is going to give me a 11, which I can't afford. It won't reflect here. And no one's going to cancel it. 46 will give me a 23. I can't afford it. Tablet is gone. 36 is giving me neither 13 or 17. And then the iPod 53, I can't afford it again. And the e-reader 24 and daily is 32 are not giving me 13 and 17. So no more calculations to be done. Check. Will take still 2.5 minutes. I don't say that. But otherwise it's almost not doable, or something that itself can take 10 minutes. See what is the crux now. Let's go back. Now that we know this, 11934, it should shout out to me prime factorization. This process can take you 1 minute, right? It takes time. We won't discount that fact. Once you know 13 and 17, now you don't need to write any of these things. Think, oh, 13 and 17 are coming in, which means they must be there in the percentages. And then you do what we did here. And you just have to crisscross and cross out the wrong options. If at max you are very keen, then you do 78 by 100 if you have a lot of time, into 51 by 100 into 52 into 51, correct? And even this, can give me a rough idea. Check that I'm on the right track. Because am I not taking 50 and 50 roughly. So do I not roughly want 1/4 of 45,000, which is a little more than 11K? You see what I'm saying? That yes, indeed, we've gotten it right. In fact, now this gives you another way to eliminate. See, when you're doing things mentally, you're in much more control. It's not like a mystery. Now that I see what I've seen here, 11,934 with 45,000 is roughly 1/4. Now check the smartphone. Is it giving you 1/4? To be honest, it's giving close. So that's not a good reason for reject. But the 52 and the 51, if you calculate, it should give you back 11,934. I wouldn't advise calculating it in the exam because I'm very sure on the prime factorization bit. And that thing I'll repeat. Number properties, the DNA is prime factorization. Now let's look at the third one. Again, something which can take time. But what is it? What is the total number of children who use the laptop less often to the total number of children who use the e-reader less often? And I just need the ratio. Don't calculate right up, or rather, I would say this, calculate anything at the end. So don't need to calculate the whole numerator. What should I write it as? Use the laptop less often. So 52 by 100 are the children, and less often is another 6% of 45K upon e-reader is 11% of, again, less often is 13% of 45K. Do you see how many things are cancelling out? Don't calculate till the end. And you see, if there's clarity, this is all that's to be written for this. And all my cancellations are relevant. I'm not going over or repeating anything. Check. And this question is now done under a minute almost. Now the last question. And this set can really be done in 6 minutes then, that time is enough. What is the difference between the number of children aged 3 to 18 who use the smartphone and the number of children aged 3 to 18 who use the e-reader weekly? So again, it's the difference now. So I know 45,000. Check how I'm writing with the mind active. This is the third suggestion I have. Issue with writing is people shut the brain. Can't afford to do that with such less time. So don't shut the brain at all, and therefore write minimal, process in the head. Write only for those complicated calculations or those complicated algebra. 45,000 now, and I need the smartphone first, right? Who use it weekly. So which percentages are coming in? 65% or 43%, right? If I've taken it correctly, so I've taken daily, so it's actually 29%. You see, so it's not that people don't make errors while reading and all, but that whole keep checking, keep alert, and most of the errors get weeded out. So here, now I know I have to be careful. So smartphone weekly. So 43 into 29 by 100 and 100, right? Minus e-reader weekly. So that's 11 into 55, it looks like, right? And this is what should be written first up, directly, nothing else. Now check what am I going to do. 45 by 10 into 43 into 29 minus, and since 43 and 29 are prime numbers, I'm not going to get lucky and nothing is going to come out common. So 55 into 11 I'd handle because it's not, nothing going to come out common. How do I do 55 into 11 in the head? 55 into 10 is 550 plus 55, 605. Now what does this tell me? Check here itself. If I have very less time, it tells me that 9, which is not going to get slashed with 2, is surely there in the answer. So if there's very little time, I might try and reject things that are not a multiple of 9. Like this one goes out, this one goes out, and the rest, I think this one also goes out, or it's still there. These three are still there. So at least two options are gone. But this, you'll have to really almost calculate now, right? 29 into 3 has to be in one step. 87 helps a lot. 8 carried over. Now 29 into 4, 116. Many ways to get it. But I'm saying अगर डायरेक्टली नहीं आता है तो एग्जाम में राइट नाउ इफ यू आर गिविंग अ मॉक डू इट मैन्युअली बट लेटर व्हेन यू आर रिव्यूइंग एंड दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ट्राई एंड प्रोसेस इट इन द हेड we don't do this step when reviewing. In fact, reviewing is just checking explanations of the things we got wrong, and that is a major problem, right? So 116 124 minus 605, so this is 642 upon 2 into 9, right? So 321 into 9, which is a little less than 3000, is definitely not reaching 4500. And I'm through with 2889. Check. So many suggestions here. FDP smooth movement. Number properties, DNA is the prime factorization. A dirty number is there to help you if you're in the test setter's head. But lastly, what would I leave you with? That now when you'll do things, remember, so important is to review it correctly. So how do I want you to review it? एक mock दिया, चाहे CAT का दो, चाहे GMAT दो, चाहे NMAT. First, try and get the sum somehow. Don't even look at the right answer. Get the sum somehow. Number plugging, option elimination. That's street smart brain. That's street smart aptitude. गेट इट देन लॉजिकली, क्योंकि अगर 2 मिनट में करने बोल रहे हैं तो एक्चुअली में कितना डिफिकल्ट होगा सम. सो डोंट गिव टू मच इंपॉर्टेंस टू ओ इट्स कैट एंड इट्स अ गॉड एग्जामिनेशन और इट्स एनमैट. अगर 2 मिनट में करने बोल रहे हैं तो एब्सोल्यूट लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी कितना ही होगा. सो गेट इट. इफ देयर इज एन इशू, डू द कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग थ्योरी. But because you're feeling unpleasant, don't go and read the explanation, because what will happen, you will not feel unpleasant. You will feel good about it कि अब मेरे को ये आता है, but your aptitude wouldn't have improved. So do it somehow, do it with pure logic, and then do this last thing which I'm preparing you for. Do it in the blackboard of the mind as much as possible. So somehow, pure logic, blackboard of the mind. And overall, go back and look at your work. Look at my work right now. Even in this complicated calculation, there is no cancellation. Even though I'm sitting in front of you and I may be a little nervous, right, that y'all are looking at, but there is no cancellation. That's what you have to see. Shows clarity of thought. तो वो पहले चाहिए, accuracy first, and then that blackboard of the mind is helping you bring speed in. So I won't keep these sessions too long either, and I'm trying to, play around with things that can help you on any standardized examination, because they're all just aptitude business. So the last thing, stop looking at explanations. Be with it till you don't get it. And this is how maybe I can help you, because this is my first round. We're also almost just there to help you. There is no, financial transaction involved. So the intention is clear. Play around with FDPs, mock analysis, how to do primarily mock analysis, playing around with FDP and the prime factorization bit. And is the speed too much or not? Because we spent a lot of time in the introduction. So this sum I still explained pretty fast. But what I did is actually quite difficult. So if it's not clearly understood, solve it, and you can report on the speed of the class as well. And this is what I want, one small thing we do nicely so that it actually makes an effect on your examination. कि फायदा हो, rather than general ज्ञान देने के बजाय एक detailed चीज that we can improve the thought process of people, how to reason. And this crazy levels of anxiety that we undergo at 21, 22, 23. I don't want to be with you all now, because this is what I'm doing. I'm 34 now. So I think more than cracking the exam, what I've seen in the last 10 years is that whole mental aspect of people, parents are expecting, you are expecting so many things out of yourself. Reality doesn't conform. तो उस पे भी एक session कर सकते हैं, but you all are open to ask me this. But that's where I want to be with you all, that anything that lessens the stress. In fact, that's a great metric for even you if you're well prepared for a topic. Does the question from that topic give you stress? अगर देता है तो उस पे और कुछ करना है. अभी भी clarity नहीं है, कैसे तो भी आया है. So you do it a little better. In fact, on the CAT, if you know 8 or 9 questions well, or 10 questions well, then you're through with a 99 percentile on the quant, right? So what I'm trying to say is you have to do things nicely. You won't get away by skimming on the passage, or those tricks like read the question first, then the passage, first the passage, then the question. those tips and tricks which are being sold in the market is again another thing that hurts me, is not the way out. And then if you'll trick the examination, how will you trick the MBA and then the job? Kab tak kaam chalaoge? By, somehow getting things. Become good at it. And that's where I'd want to be with you all. Okay. So check if this session has helped, then that's what I would love, that, more people can be impacted. They come to know about how we think, how to think in an exam, and allows us to be in, because I feel it's a period of great anxiety sometimes, right? Because the undergrad was all fun, the postgrad is where it's become serious, and now you'll have to crack it. But still, this being there is important. So have the right people around you, and that's where maybe we can end the first session.